What's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to be building an SEO strategy for a jewelry brand. So if you have a 7 or 8 figure jewelry brand and you implement exactly what I go over in this video, you will absolutely see an improvement in your rankings, traffic, and your revenue. My name is Tyler Nelbach. I'm the founder of SEO Align. I've helped dozens of fashion brands scale their organic revenue with SEO. So let's go ahead and dive in right away. Okay, so I'm going to be building an SEO strategy for this brand, Haverhill. I have no affiliation with this brand. It's just a random brand that I picked to make this video with. So the first step that you need to do is you need to identify your biggest opportunity. You don't need to do a massive amount of research to figure this out. You just need to make sure that you're focusing on one category instead of trying to do SEO for your entire site at one time, because you're just not going to make enough progress that way. So what you need to do is just figure out what types of products do you carry a lot of, what is important for you to sell. Like I said, you don't need to do a crazy amount of research, just really kind of figuring out what that is. So that might be necklaces. Like maybe you have just a ton of necklaces. That's where you make the most amount of money, and that's what you want to build traffic to. Perfect. So zero in and decide that we're going to go after the category of necklaces. So I'll just use that as an example here. So what I like about this category page is they have necklaces in solid 14K gold as the H1. So it's a pretty specific H1, and I see the title tag is something similar too. A lot of brands have it be extremely vague, and their H1 and their keyword is necklaces. Definitely not a good route to go, but I think they have a pretty solid setup as far as what they're actually targeting on this page. So what you need to do once you identify what category you're going to start with is you need to figure out every single way that people might search for that specific category. So we're looking at necklaces here. We need to figure out of the products that we carry, what are all of the different ways that people might search for necklaces that we carry. So one really easy way to do this, to at least get started with this, is to look at how you're filtering products. So I can see in this case, we've got 1,100 products here. So we have 1,100 necklaces, which is a lot. What you really need to be looking at, though, is I know this is a site that's built on Shopify just based on its URL structure. And what happens a lot of times with sites that are built on Shopify is I can show you, it looks like there's other categories here for these different types of necklaces, which just looking at that would be a good route. But when you click on it, you see all that's happening is it's filtering this page by birthstones. It's not actually creating a new page, or there's not a dedicated page set up for birthstones. And that's a really big problem for SEO, because what's happening is this is great for user experience. People can filter and they can look at all the birthstones. I think that's great to have. But this page has no chance of ranking for birthstone necklaces. And the reason for that is all it's doing is filtering. The H1 is exactly the same. The title tag is exactly the same. Nothing is changing on this page except for the filter. What you really need to have is you need to have a dedicated page with its own URL that you can actually have content specific to that keyword. So they need to have a page for birthstones that is targeting the keywords 14K gold birthstone necklaces, something like that, or even just birthstone necklaces. It just needs to have a dedicated page for birthstone necklaces. Right now they don't. Everything they do, it just creates this filter. And like I said, good for user experience. It's definitely good that they have that, but it's not helping them from an SEO standpoint at all. And that's really unfortunate, because there are so many opportunities to really go after here. So I'm going to show you here in a second, because this is absolutely crazy and will probably blow your mind. If you have a setup that's similar to this, I think this is really going to blow your mind as far as what kind of opportunities there are. So they have their main necklaces page. This is really just kind of looking at their site. This is really their only opportunity to rank for necklace related keywords. But if I scroll down and I look at the filters and I look at product type, okay, we've got necklaces, stone count. So these are all filters. So I can filter by any one of these. So really good to have here. But if I look at all of these that there are, so I've got gemstones for the months, I've got letter count, letter necklaces, so I can filter by A to see letter A necklaces. We've got price, and then we've got collection. Get my face out of the way here. And so just all sorts of different ways to categorize these. So, you've got petite, you've got chains, Hearts, horseshoe, Star of David, peace sign. They did a lot of work to categorize these necklaces, which is a really good thing. That's actually one of the harder parts of this whole strategy. But what I would be doing if I was truly doing SEO for this brand is I would be writing every single one of these down. So every single way that you can categorize the necklaces that they carry, I would be building a spreadsheet where they have their main necklaces category page, but then underneath that, I'm going to be building a spreadsheet that has all of the different ways that you can categorize. So every single one of these collections is going to be on there. Every single one of these symbols is going to be on there. Every single one of these letters is going to be on there. All of the gemstones, everything. And then what you really need to do from there is you need to figure out how you can actually go after those keywords. Because right now, with the way they have the filtering set up, there's zero chance that they could rank for the gemstone emerald necklaces. They just don't have a setup that works for that. But if they set up and they actually created collection pages for every single one of these gemstones, they would be able to rank for those keywords, and they would be a lot less competitive than trying to rank for a keyword like 14K gold necklaces. So what happens then is you have all of these collection pages that are targeting a very, very specific keyword, and that adds up because people are searching that a lot less competitive. When you're ranking for every single one of these variations, it adds up to a lot of traffic, and when people are searching more specific keywords like that, they're further down the funnel and they're going to convert a lot better than if somebody's just searching for necklaces. So these keywords actually showing up for them are incredibly valuable. So you can see how that really stacks. And like even beyond this, there's so many opportunities beyond even the way they have them categorized here. You can look at the way keywords your competitors are ranking for, or you can even just use SEMrush or the Search Console to figure out keywords that you've gotten impressions for that maybe you're not bringing in that much traffic for. But that first step is putting together that spreadsheet of all of the different opportunities that you have that you can go after. So I'm going to go ahead and put that together quick, and then when I'm done, we're going to take a look at it and see what the next step is. Okay, so basically what I did now is I put together all of the things that we had in the filter, and I put them together into the spreadsheet here. So Haverhill made this very, very easy because they already did a lot of the hard work of figuring out like all the different types of necklaces that they carry. Sometimes that can be tricky because if you don't already have these categorized, it can be tough to think about every single way that you have them categorized. So they made that very easy on me in building this spreadsheet out. And this is, so I copied all of those, and we have 114 total in here. And this is just scratching the surface. Like, this is definitely not the full list of everything they could be targeting. But this is a really good place to start because now we have 114 different keywords that would all be extremely valuable to go off of. And so really what this would come down to is I didn't actually put the full keyword in here. I just copied that in here. But basically it would just be whatever this is plus necklaces. And so this one's a little bit different than gemstones because you've got the month, but then you also have this specific gemstone. So depending on how the search results are actually showing this, you could potentially have two different pages for that. I'm not exactly sure without taking a look at that, but you could actually have a page for garnet necklaces, and then you could do January gemstone necklaces. Or you could have one page where you target both of those keywords. Really, it kind of depends on how granular you want to get and how granular the search results are for that specific keyword. But really the biggest takeaway of what I'm talking about is you just want to go after the keyword like moonstone necklaces or ruby necklaces. Or if we go down here, we've got letter A necklaces. So that would be letter A necklaces. You do the same thing for all the letters. This would be something like that. And really kind of just take that approach all the way down. I just don't want to do that for every single one of these. So super important, you have the list. Now the next step is figuring out how the heck are you going to prioritize these. So there are a ton of ways to prioritize keywords. There is no one specific right way to do it. The best way that I've found to prioritize keywords is to figure out how meaningful it is to sell these types of products to your customers. So you can look at search volume estimates that SEMrush has. You can look at keyword difficulty, cost per click in Google Ads. And all of that's helpful to look at to give you an idea. And for my clients, I do look at that data. But if you're doing this for yourself, that can become extremely overwhelming. And really the best way to do this is to just think about how valuable is this product to sell to my customers. What products do you make a ton of money selling? And usually they're going to be kind of grouped. So for example, maybe the letter ones aren't quite as valuable. Like maybe those are going to be towards the bottom, but you know your gemstone necklaces, like you make a lot of money off of those. So what I would do is I would then start with all of your gemstone necklaces. So in this example, if we have this prioritized like this, we have them towards the top. Now you know we're going to go after these gemstone necklaces. We want to show up anytime anybody's searching for a gemstone necklace, or you could even get more specific, and anytime anybody's searching for a gold gemstone necklace or a solid 14K gemstone necklace, you guys need to be showing up. So how I would do this is, so right now I added a column for basically, does the page exist? And for your brand, you might have some of these pages that already exist. Like maybe you have some of the gemstones, or maybe you have the actual keyword. Maybe you have a page for gemstone necklaces, which would be fantastic, but you don't have a page for every single gemstone. This would be an example where we do have a page for gemstone necklaces, but we need to create pages for the specific gemstones. And the way that you would do this is basically gemstone necklaces, all you need to do is plug in your URL here and then essentially take through the optimization process that I'm going to show you here in a second. But for the pages where you don't, or for the keywords that you don't have pages for, then you need to create pages. And this is pretty easy to do on Shopify. It's going to take you a little bit of manual work, but you can use AI to really help you write the content to make sure everything is optimized pretty well. But the biggest thing is you need to have a page for it. It's not enough to just have one page for gemstone necklaces. You need to have a page for every single gemstone. Because like I said, if somebody's searching for an emerald gemstone necklace, they're going to convert way higher than if they're just searching for a necklace, or even they're just searching for gemstone necklaces, because they know, hey, I need the month of May gemstone necklace. I need that. They already know exactly what they need. And you just need to show them the options and get them to buy one. So really how you can do this, and this is just a really simple spreadsheet to just kind of keep you on track and make sure you're doing everything right to go after these keywords. But basically what you could do is you could just throw in the URL for gemstone necklaces. And then if you do have any other pages where you do have the pages created, just go ahead and put yes and the page exists, and then just enter in the URL for that specific page, just so you can track all of this, so you can keep it out. Because the next important step is making sure that you have every single keyword mapped to a specific page. It's a super important step. So you need to make sure that you're not targeting a bunch of different keywords on the same page, and you need to make sure that you don't have multiple pages targeting the same keyword. So do that. There's a really good chance you're going to have a similar setup to this, where you just have all of these keywords that you don't even have a page for. In that case, we're going to basically go to town on creating collection pages. So the next step here then is going to be creating the page and optimizing it. So the optimization process here, so you're basically going to create the collection page. And the really important things that you need to keep in mind is you need to have the keyword in the title tag, you need to have the keyword in the H1, you need to have the keyword in the meta description, and then you also need to have the keyword in an H2 on the specific collection page. So if I open this detailed browser extension here, I can see the title tag here, I can see the description here. So very obvious that they're going after the keyword 14K gold necklaces here. What you will do then is you will have your new collection pages for like garnet or diamond or emerald, and you need to make sure the title tag has it, the H1, this is the H1 here. It's usually the same exact thing as the collection title, so just make sure the collection title is exactly the keyword you're trying to rank for, and then also include it in the meta description. And what I would also recommend, I'm not sure if this brand does it, they do it a little bit. So I would also make sure to have a little bit of content underneath the products. So this actually isn't too bad. They've got 3 short paragraphs or 3 short sentences underneath the products. This is a good route to go because Google relies really heavily on text content to figure out what a page is about. And so if you can add text content, that's only going to help you in actually portraying what the page is about. So and make sure you do this underneath the products, because if you do it up here, it's going to push the products down, your conversions are going to drop, and it's no good. I've seen that happen a lot, and it's never a good play. So this is great. They've got one sentence up above, and then down below they've got a little more content. You could even go a little bit deeper than this too. Have a few H2s in here. I think they did this great because necklaces in solid 14 karat gold. It's exactly what they're trying to rank for. So this is a really good strategy. So that's the process, very, very simple, for optimizing the collection page. Keyword in the title tag, keyword in the collection title, keyword in the meta description, have content underneath the products where you have the keyword in the H2, and then just kind of sprinkle it in, just naturally where it fits in the collection description. It's not something that you need to have a certain number of times or a certain keyword density. None of that matters. Just make sure you have the keyword in all of those areas. Then you're going to be really good as far as on-page optimization goes. Once you do that, you can basically say, okay, you created it for Garnet. We're going to switch this to page exists. Yes. We're going to put the URL in there, and we're going to say it's optimized. Then what you need to do is you need to add internal links to this specific product or to this specific collection page. This is super important, kind of a non-negotiable if you want to rank for this keyword. So what you need to do then is you need to find at least 5 relevant pages that you can internally link to this page. So that could be other collection pages, that could be other blog posts, but you have to have 5 because you need to actually send some signals to Google that, hey, this page is actually important. If you don't have any internal links going to this collection page, then why would Google think that it's important? There's no reason they would think it's important. But if you're constantly internally linking from other pages, they're going to pick up on that and be like, okay, we think this page is probably important to the site. So it could be something, if you're able to add it to the menu, that's great. That's going to have a lot of power. If not, just have other collection pages where you're internally linking, just like they are here. They're internally linking in the content. Do that from other collection pages. Internally link from other gemstones when you add the other pages together. And you have all the other gemstones, internally link between each other. That's a good, really good route to go. So that's an important step. Make absolute sure that you are adding at least 5 internal links. When you do that, you can go ahead and check that box, and then you can move on to the next step. Okay, so before you move on to the next step, which is actually acquiring a backlink to this page, it's a really good idea to let this sit for a week or two and then figure out where are you actually showing up for this keyword, because these keywords are going to be a lot less competitive than the keywords that you're used to going after, that are a lot more broad and are just a lot more people going after those keywords. And so before you actually go and acquire backlinks to this page, it's really helpful to figure out, are you already doing well? Like, are you showing up in the top 3 results? If you are, it might not be worth it to go out and build a backlink to this page, because backlinks are just hard to get. They cost money and they're really difficult to get to specific collection pages. And you don't want to be building backlinks to a page that doesn't need it. So if you're already ranking number 1, number 2, you might not need more backlinks. You could potentially add more internal links that add more power to get it up to number 1. But what you're probably going to find with a lot of these is you're not ranking super well yet. So you created the page, you're showing up somewhere, your internal links helped power it up to some degree. But maybe you're position 10, maybe you're position 20, and you really need to ramp that up. And when you do that, when you have to ramp it up, 1, I look at internal links first. So what I do is I look at what are the most powerful pages on our site, and what can we do to actually add internal links from the powerful pages to the page that we're trying to get ranked. So I'm just going to open up SEMrush here, and we're going to look at this site. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to top pages. And these are your most powerful pages. So I like to look at the pages that have the most traffic, and then I also like to look at the pages that have the most backlinks. So these are going to be your most powerful pages. So right here I see a blog about moonstone jewelry. So that might be a really good opportunity to link to the moonstone one. And you can kind of scroll down here and just see like a birthstone calendar, emerald one. So you'd internally link to the emerald page. Really, really good opportunities for internal linking here. Then I also like to look at, if we open up backlinks, and index pages. So these are also pages that are very, very powerful because they have backlinks pointing to them. So that's something that I would really just look through both of those lists and try to figure out which ones are super, super relevant that we can drive internal links to the page that we're trying to get ranked. After that, once I've really kind of exhausted all of my internal link opportunities, then I'll go to actually build backlinks. And so this is a tricky situation because you do not want all of your backlinks going to collection pages because it can just be something that isn't super natural. And Google might look at that and say, these aren't natural backlinks. They're not actually going to help at all. So you need to make sure, one, either you already have quite a bit of authority, you have quite a bit of backlinks going to your homepage, or you need to build those and you need to do some digital PR alongside of these backlinks you're acquiring. And by digital PR, there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. You can do digital PR campaigns. There's a lot of people who do that very, very well. It's expensive, but what it does, it helps build your overall authority and it helps mitigate some risk when it comes to actually going out and reaching out for backlinks, paying for backlinks. Because when you have really, really good backlinks, it kind of anchors your site and your site isn't all paid links then. And when you have a site that's just strictly built on paid links, it's not really good. Google can pick up on that pretty easily. But if you have some paid links in here on top of a foundation of really, really good links, then they work very, very well. And then what you want to do then, if you have that set up, if you've already done digital PR, if you have good links going to your homepage, then what you can do is you can drive backlinks to your collection pages. So this is going to be really, really powerful if you do this right. So if you're in that position, you have a lot of links to your homepage, you have a lot of really high authority sites linking to you. And let's say you want to get this Garnet collection page showing up #1 in Google because you know you're going to make a lot of money from it. Well, then you can go and you can actually reach out to sites and offer to pay for a guest post or to just have your page be included as a link with an article they've already written. Sometimes I like doing that because I will hand pick out a page on a site that gets a lot of traffic. And that page is going to be way more impactful than a random guest post that you write that may or may not even get indexed. So that's a route. If I have to go that route to get the page ranked, I will do that. But I need to make sure that the site has some sort of a baseline of authority and it has done some level of digital PR where they have good links. And it's not just a situation where we're trying to go from no links and we're just, jamming these links to collection pages because that's never a good situation. So if you get to that point, you can go ahead and check that you've acquired the backlink. Next one, this is more pertaining to large language models. So I've been helping my clients get featured in large language models just because a lot of people are doing searches there. So my clients are making way more money from Google than they are from LLMs, at least at this point. But people are searching there and my clients are making money from large language models. So what I like to do then is I like to basically either create or get featured in a listicle that is related to this specific page. So a really easy way to do this is you could just do the best garnet gemstone necklaces and publish one on your own site. The only thing with that is when you have this many, you don't really want to create, over 100 different listicles on your own site. But if you can actually look at the sources, if you search in ChatGPT, for example, the best garnet gemstone necklaces, and you see what the sources are, you can then figure out, are these pages that already exist that I can get myself featured in? So basically just reach out to the site and see if you can get featured in that page at all, because then what's going to happen is you're doing all of this stuff, you're optimizing the page, doing internal links, acquiring backlinks, that's helping you for showing up in Google. But then the listicle work, that's helping you with large language models. And by the way, if you rank #1 for any of these keywords that you're going after, that has a huge influence on large language models just by itself. So if you're already ranking #1, there's a really good chance you're going to show up in large language models. But then if you layer this and you either write your own listicle or get featured in a listicle or two, that's going to take it to a whole nother level. So really the few things that you really want to be looking at for large language models is doing SEO really well and then getting featured in as many of these relevant listicles as you can. That is what's working right now. I don't know if that's what's going to work in the future, but that has been working very, very well. So once you do that, just go ahead and check the box. The next thing I like to do is to really just look at the SERP features and see, is there any other ways that we can gain more coverage in the search results? So we'll just take this example, and I'm just going to search this in Google here. And we'll see what pops up. So I just basically like to do the search and look what we see. So we have sponsored products. This is paid ads, more paid ads, popular products. So really good example here. So we need to make sure that we are taking advantage of Google Shopping too. I'm not going to cover that in this video, but this type of traffic converts very, very well. So we know that we need to make sure our products are eligible and actually showing up here. So it takes up a lot of space in Google. People also ask, so a lot of these are going to be AI overviews, but just something to think about if there's ways that you can contribute, if there's ways you can add value with your own blog posts. Definitely a good idea to do that. But just really scroll and see, like, are there other types of things that you can do? So you might be able to create blog posts that cover some of these topics to really just be featured within the People Also Ask, so you can take up more of this real estate. So ideally, you're showing up in these results. If I keep scrolling, in stores nearby. So really, it looks like those are the biggest opportunities. So just looking at this, we need to make sure that we have our Google Shopping absolutely dialed in. I do have videos on how to actually do Google Shopping well and how to make sure you're showing up in the shopping and the popular products. So make sure to check those out. But beyond that, it looks like our biggest opportunities are, so it's Google Shopping, People Also Ask, and then the regular organic results. So we want to show up as high as we can here. We want to get featured and show up in as many of these People Also Ask as we can. So if we can write one killer blog post on this garnet gemstone necklaces, that would be fantastic, because then we have the opportunity to show up here, and then we also have the opportunity to show up really everywhere. So ideally, you are taking up all of the space in the search results here. And if you can get to a place where you're doing that, you're going to dominate the search results, but you're also going to dominate large language models too. So definitely take a look at this and see what are all of the different areas that you need to be showing up, and then just go crazy on that. So if you do this, so this is going to keep you busy. You finish that one, go on to the next one. We have 115 opportunities here. So this is going to keep you busy for a very long time to get through this entire list. But it's going to be very, very valuable. If you're showing up number one for all these keywords, you're going to bring in a lot of traffic. You're going to bring in a lot of really, really good revenue. So make sure you do not sleep on these opportunities, because there's a lot here. And right now, they're not, this brand, Haverhill, I'm sure they're doing well. According to SEMrush, they get about 25,000 organic website visitors per month, which is awesome. But there's room for so much more. So make sure you're not leaving these many opportunities on the table, because it can make a very, very big difference for your traffic and revenue. So I hope this video was helpful. If you just don't want to worry about any of this at all and you'd rather have me help you out instead, I'll go ahead and leave a link down in the description where you can book a time to meet with me. And if you did like this video and you got value out of it, please like this video and subscribe for more SEO videos just like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.